I'm convinced I'll be well-rounded, but hopefully everybody else around me or whoever I can speak to can learn from these things as well.
Welcome to the Success Blueprint podcast, where we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship and success. Join us in uncovering the stories behind the triumphs, challenges, and invaluable lessons learned by today's most inspiring entrepreneurs. From real estate moguls to tech innovators, we explore the secrets to their success and share actionable insights to help you on your own journey. Welcome, everyone, to our podcast today. I have the absolute pleasure of getting to host and interview Danny Continelli today. And we are going to be talking about who Daniel is, what brought him to connect with me, how we've been talking with each other for quite some time, and how he's achieved success in his own right. So, Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to dive in because you are such a dynamic personality and I love always chatting with you. Now, what I want to do is I want to start off by getting a little introduction from you for our viewers so they know who you are. So please share a bit about yourself, your background, what drives you in your endeavors.
Well, first of all, Colleen, it's absolutely my pleasure. Okay, and I'm humbled to actually be here. You have no idea on you helping me through this transformation. And now at the end of the transformation, towards the end, I mean, we never finished our journeys. We never really do because we never stopped growing, Colleen. But to be here through it, I'm totally humbled. So thank you for that. So back to Danny Continelli. Who am I? I'm a father. I'm a divorced male. I'm 54 years old. I'm an entrepreneur. In the past, very motivated, great work ethic taught from, son of an immigrant, taught from my parents, no excuse for hard work, always be honest, give more than you take, that sort of thing. So that's basically the fundamentals of it. And as you can tell in the beginning, I spoke about, being, I'm a parent first. So my greatest job that I take most seriously is to be a father to my two boys, right? And going through life and going through all of the ups and downs that we try to navigate for ourselves, it's challenging at times to be the best example for your children, right? Yeah. So this whole journey that you've helped me on and realizing to try to be the best version of myself is not only for myself, but for, my two boys, right? Okay. And for everybody else around me. So that's basically in a nutshell. You touched on dynamic. Some people, that's a very good choice of words, Colleen. Some people would say all over the place. Some people would say, ADD and all that kind of stuff. Dynamic is great because yes, there's so many different layers to me as far as, a lot of energy, personal fitness, motivating people around me, bringing energy to people, but also as I got older, becoming a little bit more humble. That's as a result of getting my ass kicked a little bit in business, or, my parents dying, both of them are not here anymore. So, understanding our mortality, but so dynamics for sure, all over the place. Yes, a little bit, a lot of high energy, love to try new experiences, that sort of thing, but love basically to help everybody around me feel as comfortable as they possibly can, and to give some of that energy that I have to other people so that they can feel it and kind of take the gift that God has given me, right?
Yeah, well, it's definitely, like I said, so I say dynamic because you are somebody who is really fun and exciting to talk to. So for our guest today, what is something that our audience can anticipate learning or gaining from you and our conversation?
Well, first and foremost, brutal honesty, direct and to the point. No sugarcoating anything. Growing up in the house that I grew up in, Italian influence, French Canadian mom who learned Italian and, very, very strong work ethic and they instilled that, but everything was right to the point. Yeah. So I'm going to be to the point. I'm not going to fuck around. This is the answer. This is it. No sugarcoating.
Love it. Love it. So let's dive in. I want to know about a pivotal moment in your life or your career that significantly influenced the path that you're on today.
Well, the path that I'm on today, sorry, everybody needs to know this. I got to time out 1 sec. Everybody needs to know this, whoever's going to be listening to this. This woman who's asking me these questions, nobody on the planet has made me cry more than this woman right here. And I mean that in the greatest respect and admiration that I could possibly give to another human being. Nobody has made me, because you've offered me the opportunity to dig deep. So sorry if I get emotional along here,
Please.
but this is the reality.
You said raw honesty, and this is what.
Yeah, that's it. So sorry about that. So anyway, back to your question. What brought me on this path? Well, I met you through somebody else on a fluke, through a reason. They spoke the great words of you, and I was desperate, in need to get back on track. And I'm highly motivated. I was highly disciplined. I was super focused in my previous, like with my marriage for my ex-wife for 25 years. So when I got divorced, I went on a different path, and I stopped setting goals. I figured that I could kind of just keep coasting through, and everything was great. And I was searching for different things. What brought me here, the reality is, I probably was, realizing now, Colleen, at the lowest point of my whole entire life. And I was in search of something. A mutual friend of ours suggested speaking to you. I believed that I had a different purpose, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about myself, but I also wanted to learn about how coaching and helping other people, how that whole process worked. So I came to you to try to learn a little bit, but then what ended up happening, interestingly enough, Colleen, along the way, is you forced me to become more accountable, because even the most highly motivated, focused, disciplined people still need their asses kicked every once in a while, right? So you did that. But what you did more importantly than anything was you helped me look inside. And by helping me look inside and letting go of some things that I was holding on to that I really didn't think I was even holding on to, I've become way more lighter, much more well-rounded individual, and here I am, and I'm excited to keep moving forward, bigger, stronger, faster. So what brought me to you, in a nutshell, I was broken, and I was probably at the lowest point of my life.
Yeah, but you've grown so much since then.
You. I feel I have.
Wonderful. It's been wonderful to witness everything, because I do remember those specific sessions that you're mentioning. And it was very transformative to get to actually see and participate in watching you go back into the past experiences, recognize what took place, and then build from there. And even the way that you think and you've been talking since we've been working together has changed quite positively, I think. So I'm very proud of you, what you've achieved. So what I want to know is, what is a memorable lesson or piece of advice that has stuck with you throughout either your personal or your business career? Because, not to downplay anything about what you've achieved, you've done very well in business. You know, even though when we started working, there were hurdles and things, throughout your entire career, you have always been a boss. So talk to me about either a memorable or something that stuck with you, piece of advice, or a memorable lesson.
So, great question. Are you referring to before you, about how I was and kind of who made me, and something memorable along the way?
Both. Could be before, it could be after. Whatever, first thing that comes to mind.
Okay. So first thing that comes to mind is, there's my dad was very, very simple. My dad, grade 4 education, comes from Italy, doesn't speak the language. Yeah. That whole great immigrant story and creating success. But we always dumbed everything down, and we always said, we're dealing with crayons. So specifically to the point, like at the end of the day, you can never go wrong by doing the right thing. So as simple and as basic as that is, if that's your barometer, right? If that's your compass, right? You can never go wrong by doing the right thing. And the other advice I got: don't ever do anything that your mom wouldn't be proud of.
That's good.
Because men, me speaking, because I have 2 boys, but men, or me coaching sports and you have boys, we kind of let things slide a little bit, or we try to be a little bit more macho, or, we want to muscle through it. Right. Mm-hmm. And, sure, we could disappoint our dads, but the unique relationship that a child or a boy especially has with his mom, right? And maybe that's similar to what a little girl has with her dad, maybe. But to me, don't ever do anything that will disappoint your mom. And I gave those rules to my boys, those simple 2 rules that I got from my dad. And those are just great rules to live by. So that's setting the moral compass. And then from there, what I understood, like I've always been highly motivated, right? I've always been highly motivated. I'm the third child. I'm the little guy. Always felt loved and included, but also left to do my own thing, and always kind of do my own thing. Oh, you know what? Daniel's going to be fine. Leave him alone. He'll be fine. Like just all that sort of thing. So going through life, I realized that because I was motivated, and it's almost like I had something to prove. It's almost like I had a chip on my, right? So as a result of working with you, and then diving back into my past at some pivotal moments, and then you open those unlocking, let's say, whatever I had stored down deep, it then made me realize, now I'm realizing, okay, I'm highly motivated. What motivated me, right? And we could touch on that later and how I got motivated, but using motivation, whatever that is, as a stepping stone or a springboard to whatever success it is that you want. And I've used it in so many ways, whether it's good business, whether now learning more about human people and dynamics and empathy, because before you, I had no empathy. I didn't understand it. Okay. So now with you, now going on to this whole, what I've learned is to be a little bit more well-rounded. So it's very pivotal. Those couple small lessons I learned as a kid that I've taken through my whole life. And on my second chapter in life, because I want to tell your whole audience here, I'm 54 now. I'm convinced that I'm going to go to I thought it was going to be 100, but I'm going to go to 110 now. Because now I'm a little bit lighter. So in the second half of my life, in the next 56 years of my life, I'm using your basic rules, guidance, coupled with my parents from back in 1970 that I learned to now springboard this. And then hopefully, I'm convinced I'll be well-rounded, but hopefully everybody else around me or whoever I can speak to can learn from these things as well.
Well, something you said at the beginning, I love that, by the way. And something you said at the beginning is how we're constantly growing and evolving. We really are every single day. There's something new to learn. And the product of who we are is heavily influenced by what we feed to ourselves with both our atmosphere, like who we surround ourselves with, but also what we decide we want to learn in life too. So with you having this profound want to grow personally, I have no doubts in my mind that you're going to continue building off of that and become someone who is truly inspiring. You're already someone who is inspiring, by the way, but you'll inspire even larger groups of people in different ways because you'll be able to share with them your personal stories. Like a lot of people who are able to connect with others on a deeper level, that's because they have gone through the trenches themselves and they have that different perspective and empathy grows. So I don't think that I taught you the empathy per se, because I think that was in you already. But I think that we helped unlock the parameters in which you felt empathy. We helped open up the gates and allow you to feel it in a way that was comfortable for you and that you understood. So I want you to know you had empathy in you the whole time.
Yes. You know, again, you that's your nice way of deflecting, like, because I believe that you have. I believe that you have superpowers. You're right. It would have been in me somewhere. You helped unlock it, right? And that growth, going through the journey. So there's so many other questions, but it's just kind of going on a tangent here. You taught me about perspective, right? And I knew perspective, and life is all about perspective, how you perceive everything. Because if we're negative and negative all the time, everything's going to be negative, right? But it's just, so you taught me different things, being at a low and then realizing, wait a second, I got to go through this. I got to go through all of this shit. I got to go through this, get my ass handed to me for whatever reason, too adventurous, leveraging too much, not keeping my eye on the prize, not goal setting, whatever it was. You then putting things into perspective, giving me the tools. Now I can tell the story. I started to write the book and then tell the story from the male version of going through divorce that nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to deal with. And you got to understand something. I grew up in a generation with a father My dad told me he loved me at 65 years old at his retirement party. That was the first time my dad told me he loved me. And it was beautiful. Not for 1 second that I didn't think my dad didn't love me. Not for 1 second. Okay. But those words. So, you go through life this way and reaching bottom and then going, okay, wait, now I can kind of build this up and tell the story from a different perspective. So to your point, you got to go through the shit in order to talk about the stuff, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Now, I want to shift our conversation slightly because it's something that we've talked about in the past in a really unique way. So I want to shift to addiction.
Okay.
Now, for everybody, addiction represents a very broad number of topics and situations, and it represents many different things to individuals. It can be positive, and it can also have the negative, like we understand. I want to know for you, how do you perceive addiction and what significance does it hold in your life?
You know what? Great question. So addiction, to your point, Colleen, usually has a negative connotation associated with it, usually, right? From the people I've known or anything that I've seen. For me, I've realized that I have an addicted personality, okay? And my whole life, I've used my addictive personality to my advantage, all right? So not as a detriment, but more as a motivator, more as a driving force. So, I look back and think about my childhood. I became at a young age addicted to winning. Okay.
Yeah.
So more so like in sports. Okay. But playing different sports, playing hockey, playing tennis, playing soccer, those types of things. And then even anything that I would play with my buddies. So I got addicted to winning. And then once I got addicted to winning and on a personal level or challenging, I took that into other things like winning and being a solid person, like not losing a friendship, doing what you say you're going to do. Like the basis, my addiction was winning. And on that, I used that as the stepping stone. And from there, I approached, my relationship with my ex-wife. Okay. There was no deviation. We were winning. We were going through this. We were going where we were going to go. It was up to against the whole entire world. Right. Yeah. And that's how it was. So it was that mindset. Because at a young age, addicted to winning, then I transferred. My another addiction became business, because I started a stucco business and started from nothing. Yeah, we started it, and I was again taking my addiction of winning. I wanted to be the best that I could possibly be. I wanted to rise above from nobody, nothing was handed to me, and rise above, and then become. I always said this. I wanted to be number 2 in the region. And people would say, number 2, why do you want to be number 2? Why don't you want to be number 1? I said, because everybody looks at number 1. I go, when it's time to be number 1, if you're number 2 and you're hustling and you're chasing number 1, right? You're just going to by default get there. And when you get there, remember that there's somebody else coming. So it's just that addiction to winning. So I was able to achieve exactly what I set out to do.
It's a really interesting reframe that you did there.
So that whole thing, thank you. That whole addiction was that. Then I was addicted. Then I became addicted to success. So I was winning and I was addicted to success, but not in the negative way that it came at all costs. Okay? Right. Because anybody who knows me, I lived really well balanced. Yeah. Right. A devoted father, always home for dinner. Chasing work and trying to win the next contract. But still living and vacationing and having family. Because to me, that encompassed all of that. That success encompassed winning. Yeah. Okay? So, and had goals. So same old thing. I mean, I started coaching sports, which to me is the greatest. Coaching sports, little boys, little men, teenagers, to start with nothing and be able to create something is the greatest possible is the greatest feeling I've ever had in my life. Way more fulfilling. So then teaching these boys, and it goes back to these goals, set the goal, try to attain it. So that was the addiction. My addiction was winning, right? And what ended up happening along the way, I stopped trying to win. I didn't know what the next thing I wanted to win. That's what happened. So my addiction then became, I went into the normal vices. Okay. My addiction became after I got divorced. my addiction became, okay, what is my next dopamine rush? What's my next dopamine high? So, okay, well, we're going to jump out of a plane. Oh, we're going to get a motorcycle. We're going to drive really, really fast. Oh, you know what? We're going to drink, and we're going to drink too much. Oh, we're going to associate with some people who, wow, they're really enamored by, they don't know the real me. They knew the surface me. So my addiction I pivoted to the traditional sense of the word addiction and went down a road that took me to a point where it wasn't really good stuff. You maybe you're watching too much porn. Maybe you want too much sex. Maybe you want attention from that next person. And I realized that going through that negative part of the addiction, which I say is a negative part, going through that, it was, you know what? This isn't really who I am. I got to get back to using the addiction and my addictive personality back to the more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, like it's the more positive way, right? The more
healthy.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. The more healthy way that so everybody around me could come and be, okay, we're all along for the ride, because I'm the type of person that wants to bring everybody around me and make them feel better and have the energy, and let's go together.
Enhance their lives.
So I've been able to go through both sides of the addiction, and I prefer my addiction to winning. All right, winning in life, and that's changed as well, Colleen. The addiction about what is winning. Okay?
Yeah.
What is success? Because some people will go, is there a parallel between winning and success? Which there is, but what is it to you? So now going through all of this, and the audience should know, I never got addicted to drugs. I wasn't addicted to cocaine or heroin or oxys or any of this shit where I was vegging out in the corner and tweaking and not wanting to do any work. It wasn't that. But I deviated from who I truly, truly was, and then realized that, wait a second, I got to use my addictive personality back to who I really was and my core values. And I can see that going through stuff, if somebody who's addicted to something very, very negative, I could see how that could potentially go down a really, really deep, dark path, right?
Yeah.
So I would like at some point in my life to help some people who are addicted that negative way to use that addictive personality to something that's that much more fruitful, that much more healthy, that much more beneficial to people around them.
Well, I love that, because you touching on the topic of addiction and how it can be both positive and negative, and how you've had it in the positive stand, and then you've also experienced the negative side. One of the things that neuro-linguistic programming builds its foundation off of is the fact that everything we do is a program. And those programs are what create habits, and habits are also part of addiction. So when we have an addictive personality rather, which I also have an addictive personality. So when we have addictive personalities, being able to tap in and recognize that the programs that we run are that much more important to either guide that addiction in a positive way or let it go into a negative stance. That is so empowering for an individual. Like, I personally know, when I'm working out, I will work out consistently, and I will work out every single day. You and I have talked about this.
Yes, you have discussed that.
Consistently working out every single day. And then sometimes, like many people, when I fall off, fall off the bike,
yes,
I literally
when you literally fall off the bike.
Yes, I am off for a while, and then it's getting back in. And it's all about the program. I know that if I set myself up each day that I'm going to, do my Peloton, for example, for a period of time, this time every single day, I am far more likely to do that because it's part of my daily program. And so just like you falling back into the addiction to success, that becomes part of your daily program. You run a different program when that's your focus, which I think is I think that's a phenomenal thing that you recognize. And now, having the understanding of neuro-linguistic programming, having experienced hypnotherapy, having gone through all of these learnings, you now see it in additional ways. So as you're continuing to build, you're able to do it in a way where, every program that you run has to be a purposeful program. Even the way, and to get into programs, like, a program is literally absolutely everything we do. We run programs consciously and unconsciously, because we know that if we do step A, B, C, D, the outcome will be relatively the same, like making a coffee. I use that example all the time. I know that if I make my coffee a certain way, if I do this many pumps of my flavored syrup, it's going to taste a certain way. I know that when I'm boiling, the water for the tea, because I drink yerba mate tea, I know that I got to boil the water, put the tea leaves in the thing, and then pour the water in. If I put the water in and then put the tea leaves in, it wouldn't come out exactly the same way. These are all programs. And success is the same way. When you want to achieve something, success literally is a formula. A, B, C equals C. You just have to figure out what your A, B, and your A and B are to equal C.
With a little bit of luck. You got to throw a little bit of luck in there too. Just a little dash.
Okay, so tell me, what's your opinion on luck? Because I want to know this, because I have an opinion on what luck is. Because I am like, literally when I was younger, I used to be told that if I didn't have bad luck, I had absolutely no luck. I don't look at myself as an unlucky individual. Listen, I've got stories. I've got really, really like crazy stories of things that have happened and experiences that I've gone through where people are like, holy shit, like that's crazy.
Yes.
But at the same time, I look at it and I'm like, it's a story that I use to, like, yes, it's 100% accurate and true story, but I use it to teach people and show people how, behaviors, techniques, programs that we run, they all have an outcome, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
My opinion about luck is that there are individuals that seem to have horseshoes up their ass. They maybe have a very privileged life. Maybe just the experiences that they've had an easier life. One time I had somebody explain it to me. It was actually a therapist, because I do actively use therapy as well. They explained to me that oftentimes, if you're someone who follows the idea of reincarnation, when you are going to be reincarnated, you have the option to decide if you want to have an easy life or not an easy life, if you want to learn the lessons or not learn the lessons. And if you decide you want to have the easy life, then, you're going to accept whatever easy life that comes out as. You could literally come out as a, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like an animal that has a super easy life, where
Bird.
you could come out with anything who lives a relatively sheltered life and has an easy life, or you could come out as an individual who has a very privileged life and has no worries in the world, easy lives. Or you could come out as somebody who seems like they're unlucky and they're always going through something and having to process a shitty situation. But oftentimes those people who are unlucky, they don't feel like they're unlucky, which I don't feel like I'm an unlucky.
Okay, so as I'm listening to you, tell me this story and bring me down this road. You opened my mind, Colleen, like you always do. But this was about reincarnation, okay?
Yeah.
But as I'm listening to your actual story about your bad luck, in quotations, right?
Yeah.
That has defined and made you who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe in the situations like you just felt like, oh, this is happening again. Like, what am I going to do, right? Yeah. But now you are able to look back and go, well, wait a second. This defines me. This now tells the story. This helps you. It helps us kind of, let's say, do the work or something, right? It's a test. At the end of the day, knowing now what I know, all of this stuff, we're tested, and we're tested in so many ways every single day.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's a whole other conversation we could have about spirituality and what we believe in or what anybody believes in, which is, to me, religion and spirituality is like a whole other mind-blowing experience, which I love. I love having those types of conversations. But getting back to your luck thing, the quick, safe answer is you make your own luck. We're not lucky. We make our own luck. So that's the quick, arrogant, egotistical, alpha male bullshit answer, that we make our own luck. And I tell myself that, and my buddies around me, or who I tell my two boys, guys, we create our own luck. You don't just wake up lucky, you create your own. And I believe that, okay? Yeah. But I also believe a little bit deeper in spirituality, in a sense of, we at some point, I believe this. You pay me now, pay me later. Everybody's got to pay. There's a price that is paid for everything. Okay. Yeah. There's a price that's paid for doing nothing every single day and not having an inspired life and feeling sorry for yourself and not being motivated. That price could be depression, could be obesity, could be introverts, Like it's just you're going down, let's call it a negative rabbit hole, because there's a price. There's a price to pay for success. If it's monetary success, maybe you don't see your children as much. Maybe your relationship suffers. Maybe you don't have friends, right? Like, so there's all these types of prices. So as far as luck is concerned, if somebody's going through like you did, and you got like a whole series of bad luck, which I really, really felt as going through this humbling experience that I've gone through in the last few years. I'm like, what? Like, I'm looking up, going, what's going on here? Like, how much more bad luck am I going to have? How many more days is it going to rain? Right, is what I'm thinking in my head. And then changing the perspective. All right, hanging around some different, letting go of some baggage, hanging around some different people. You coming into my life and us working together and trying to want to be better. Now it's like, well, wait, things are kind of shifting. So it goes back to, I believe we create our own luck, but you have to, as hard as it gets, you got to realize that sooner or later things are going to change.
Yes.
But
perspective.
But you have to want it. You got to still kick some stuff, because if I wanted to be 210 pounds and shredded and on the cover of Men's Fitness, right? I have to lose 10 pounds to get there. But if I'm going to just say that I want to do it, and I want to eat the exact same thing and drink the exact same thing and drink all this alcohol or whatever I want to do, it's never going to happen. So I wouldn't have just been discovered tomorrow and said, "Oh, you're lucky, you look good, get on the front cover." No, you got to do the work.
Yes.
So in a roundabout way, because I went down this whole tangent, we create our own luck, but we also have to be aware enough to go, okay, and push yourself through. Like if it's raining all the time, know that the sunshine is coming.
Yes.
And that's what makes us.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Luck is about what you make for yourself and recognizing opportunities and grasping them too. That's the other thing too. When people have said to me about, the unlucky occurrences that have, happened back to back and whatnot, they've all been really good learning opportunities for me. And I've always been somebody who I do, trust me, everybody gets down. Everybody has, it's a lot to process. And that's why I actively do therapy. And it's been amazing because it also provides additional insights for me. But when I've been in the trenches, one of the biggest things that has brought me luck is pushing through, reframing, and recognizing when I'm having a really bad day, I picture what it's going to be like when I achieve even the smallest little accomplishment. One of the ways that I look at success is getting things done. For me, success oftentimes is getting things done, which means goals that I've set out for myself, getting them done. So we've talked before about different things that I'm working on and things that I'm working towards achieving. There were setbacks that took place, and someone might look at
falling off your bike, like falling off.
But setbacks take place, right? And so being able to look at it and reframe it in a healthy way. What can I learn? Every time something happens to me, I'm looking at it from the perspective of not like, what can I learn from this situation, but literally looking at it and be like, okay, what can I do different? What went wrong? Like everything that I'm looking at, I'm always in a problem solving mentality, which is where I think the wins that I've had have come from. Like there is a couple of months this summer where I was like, wow, so many good things are happening. Like I am winning at life.
So hang on that note, I gotta ask you that. So you get to this point, you have, to your point, we got these wins. Now did you actually stop for a second and go, wow, things are going really good?
Yes, because I definitely teach my clients, one of the biggest things is you have to celebrate the wins when they're happening and you have to recognize them. It's very easy to set a goal and then raise the bar and continue raising the bar. And what happens when you do that is it's very disempowering, because if you're constantly raising the bar, you achieved the goal, but you don't ever get to feel like you achieved it. So for me, when I saw okay, so way back, like this is the first time I started implementing the idea of celebrating wins. And I'm not saying that it has to be monetary every time, but I remember the first time when I was quite young that I made my first big sale.
Okay.
And I decided that I was going to go out and I was going to buy myself my first Michael Kors purse. And I actually bought one of the Runway ones. Now, don't be too, excited about it. I actually bought it funnily at Costco. It was way back when Costco was selling Michael Kors purses, and that's going to date it actually how long ago it was, because
You're not that old.
yeah, no, I'm not that old, but it's quite a number of years ago that Costco was selling Michael Kors purses. So it was one of the Runway purses.
Yes.
And it was still, I think it was maybe $600 or $700 at the time.
Wow.
At Costco.
Yeah.
So I bought it. I still have that purse, and I still feel good about that purse.
Absolutely amazing.
And it goes with everything.
So you celebrated wins back in the day.
Absolutely. I always celebrated the wins. And back then, like, it was a big sale I had done. My commission was quite a substantial commission. So it made sense to monetarily indulge. But even in times, because listen, I've been somebody who has been a very high income earner, and somebody who's like, oh crap, like, how do we make the bill? I've been on every side of that spectrum. And even in the times when I was not making a lot of money, even doing the little celebratory wins. So it could be as simple as I'm also, one of my toxic traits is that whenever there's like a new thing that comes out, I'm like, oh, I could do that myself. So I literally got the nail kits to do gel nails, and I was even at the point where I would do my own eyelash extensions. So imagine like trying to sit there using a tweezer with the glue that burns your eyes with the doing that. Okay. That was my toxic trait. I've learned my lesson in many aspects. So there's some things I won't do and some things I will still do.
Good for you. Good.
But when like money wasn't flowing and I wanted to treat myself, it could have been doing something like, I'm going to take 2 hours today and I'm going to give myself a really nice manicure and pedicure. I was doing it for myself, but it was something nice I was doing for myself. I'm going to, tonight's meal, I'm going to make, trying to eat healthy and everything. I might be like, you know what? Tonight's meal's going to be pasta and I don't care. I'm going to eat it.
Okay.
Because usually we eat pasta, like Italians, and the Italian family will have like pasta on Sundays at lunchtime. And then, sometimes for lunch during the week, but you don't have it for dinner time. So I'd be like, I'm treating myself to pasta kind of thing.
Yes. Nice. Yeah. So
wins can be literally anything. And you want to know what's interesting? What I do to celebrate wins now, and this is a newer thing for me. This is in the last year. When I am celebrating a win, because I'm really motivated for the goals that I have in the future, I want to create for myself, my clients, my family, everybody. So some of the things that I now do when I'm wanting to do a celebration for myself is I'll take the goal that I have, maybe a goal I've already created, and I make it a little bit bigger. I make it a little bit more colorful. I make it a little bit more, I'm trying to think of like the right words to use, but I make it something that's going to be that much more empowering. So for example, I want to start doing retreats. In the future, I want to start hosting educational retreats.
Yes.
So one of the things that I was thinking when I achieved something recently was I'm like, well, instead of doing like just local retreats, what if I work towards doing a retreat that's at like an all exclusive resort? That'd be really cool. And like that was like a treat because I let myself imagine what it was going to be like and really create the picture and then, elaborate on what I wanted to even teach at that.
Yes.
Really your self-indulgences can become anything. The core is what makes you feel good, and then do that.
Yes.
Within reason. After
that's right. Perfect. Yes.
Addiction.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, because that those little rewards, the little wins along the way. Yeah, I think we have to do that as individuals. Otherwise, we become too robotic. There's no, you're taking let's say the joy out of part of the journey. I've learned along my life now, having, being a little bit of reflective, having goals and wanting to win is great. But there's times that you still have to, look around at where you are and embrace it and be thankful and be grateful as it's going, right? Because even though you bought that runway purse, forgive my ignorance, maybe everybody else this knows what this is, but what's the difference between a runway purse and a regular purse? Like,
so,
do you wear it at the airport? Like, is it at the airport? Right? Is this for private plane? Yeah. Is this for private plane people? Are you actually in Milan on a run? Like, please help me understand this part because I don't understand.
So I now have 2 runway purses.
Oh,
I did have 2. One my husband bought for me. So the difference between the runway purse typically is quality. It's supposed to be quality. So for example, like Michael Kors, they are known for like their canvas covered bags. They've got the leather bags and everything. So the 2 runway ones are full leather, like even inside the leather detailing and everything.
Okay.
So they were on the runways. So they would have been put on the runway with whichever season it was. Now the one that was at Costco, that was probably the runway purse from like 5 years ago. So there's
but
that.
It's still a runway, but Colleen, it was still a runway
purse.
Right.
It's the closest to a runway that I'm getting.
So if I understand you correctly, the runway purse, the quality is better. It's more a limited edition, and it's been on a runway, which means it's been at a fashion show in one of these big fashion show areas like Paris or Milan or New York or that sort of thing.
Exactly. Right. But to be clear, that it's not that specific purse that was on the runway. It's the design.
No, yeah. It's not the actual one. I would think that I don't know that they would have the actual one at Costco. 20 years ago, right? So I get it. Now I understand. Thanks for the clarity.
They'd be selling those ones for a lot more. But but it's the indulgences. It's all those little indulgences that you've got to figure out what works for you and use it as motivation, because we know, like, when it's goal setting, when you're working towards something, every day is going to be a challenge. And where the real growth takes place is when you are working through those challenges and still focusing on what you want to achieve and doing the programs each day to do it. Like, one of the reasons why I have been able to achieve even what I've been able to achieve over the last little while, especially, like, I went through my father's passing this year, very soon after my dog passed away, very soon after then my uncle passed away, 3 significant deaths throughout my life. And then, every business thing going on in between there. One of the main reasons why I've been able to continue working through that is having specific programs I'm running each day to get things done, and then allowing myself to celebrate even in the small ways.
Yes.
To be able to say, okay, I did this. So tonight I'm going to have, a little bit of a indulgent meal. I mean, listen, I put some weight on from there, but you look at it, it's all about the balance, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. The key, because people can get to, or I found even with myself, being goal driven and wanting to win, at some times you can become, unbalanced.
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about that price that people have to pay for whatever it is. But if the price of winning or the price of success, you can tend to become a little bit off balance. Fortunately for me, I had 2 boys later, but we got pregnant later a little bit. So that kind of grounded during the successful years of building the business, then having the children, then being, wait a second, I still remember this, but my ex-wife, we were high school sweethearts. We got married, 5 years after, 23, 22, all that kind of stuff, take on the world. But I still remember when we were pregnant, it was 9 years after marriage. We were pregnant with Nico, our first one. Okay? And this was kind of on purpose, right? Like, we waited, right? So I remember this, my ex-wife saying to me, Daniel saying to me, hey, so we're going to have a son, all this kind of stuff. And, all right. So she says, what's going to change? I said, what do you mean what's going to change? Like, literally, I looked at her like a deer in fucking headlights. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm still going to work. It's the summer. I have an outdoor business. We work hard from March to the end of November. I'm still going to do that. And she says, really? Okay. So I got to give her credit for this, because I grew up in a household. My dad worked in a factory. My mom, for the most part, took care of the house. Then she went out and worked after. She was a caregiver at a nursing home, right? Or private care. But where I'm going with this is, I grew up, my dad came home after his factory job. We ate early, and which would have been 4:30, 5 o'clock, which I hated, by the way. And then he would go back out and he would go do work. So a side job, do concrete, build something, like always like this, right?
Yeah.
So that was normal to me. That was okay.
Yeah.
Like, it was good. I didn't like eating at 5 o'clock because I still wanted to play outside or do my thing, or I had stuff to do. And on this note, for one sec, I remember saying as I got a little bit older, I'm like, why do we eat at 5 o'clock? What do you? My father says, "What time do you want to eat?" I said, "I want to eat at 7:30." My father looks at me and says, "Oh, so you want to be a big shot?" And I said, "So you got to understand. Grade 4 education, strong Italian accent, speaks English well." But I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, the people with lots of money, the big shots, they eat at 7:30." I said, "Well, I'm going to be a big shot one day because I want to eat at 7 or 7:30." So getting back to my wife, my ex-wife, and not having kids, I'd come home. She was working as well, but I'd come home. We'd eat dinner at 8:30.
Right.
And it was by design because I was working.
That was but that was what your brain told you was
Exactly. It is. It's interesting. And I learned that from you. It's what my brain told me. So there was no correlation between being a big shot. It was just I was working. I was physically on the tools. So getting back to this whole thing, what we were talking about, so Nico's born, and she said, "What are you going to do?" So I said, "I'm going to keep going." So I got to give her credit because you women are way smarter and way stronger than any of us men. Okay. So she says, "Can you just come home for dinner? Come home for dinner. And then if you got to go back out, go back out." I said, "Okay, I will be home at 7 o'clock. All right." She says, "Okay, no problem." I come home for dinner. Well, what happens, Polly? I come home for dinner. I see my baby boy, and I'm like, "This is unbelievable. What is like? Who would want to miss this? This is the greatest thing ever." Okay.
Yeah.
So then I remember having dinner, and if I still because then I was getting off of the tools, and the business was evolving to me becoming, the manager, the salesman, the coordinator, like running, right? As opposed to physically putting it on the wall. So I would still schedule meetings, especially in the summer, because, it doesn't get dark till 8:39. I'd go home for dinner. We'd stuff some stuff down. I'd bring Nico in his little bassinet, put him in the car. And I still remember taking him and taking him out. And a couple of people going, "Who on God's green earth is not going to buy a stucco job from you? You brought your newborn with you to a job site. It's not going to buy it." And I go, "This has nothing to do with that. This is me almost spending time with my son," right? So
yes,
I kind of forgot why we went down this tangent, but this is to celebrate wins and to smell the roses along the way.
Yeah,
okay? Because that's what it was. Because if we become too addicted, but we don't smell the roses along the way, we become empty inside. Okay.
Yeah.
Time passes on, we become empty. And then by becoming empty inside, even if you're focused on your goals and you're hyper focused on where you want to get to, by not smelling the roses, not buying the Michael Kors Runway, not picking up your son and spending a little bit of time because your wife has a little bit of free time, or that bonding together, by not doing that, I think you become empty inside. And then to try to fill it, you're going to fill it with a different addiction. And the different addictions be, I fucking hate my life. I want to drink too much. Oh, I want to do a little bit of drugs. Oh, this girl's paying me attention. Maybe it's just not healthy. So to your point, we have to take time every once in a while. Maybe as the treadmill's still going, step off the treadmill, even though while it's still going, look around, have your drink, right?
Yeah.
Smell something, and then get back on it.
Absolutely. It's reframing those addictions into positive ways and creating healthier mindset, healthier behaviors that get you even further. Because there's so much evidence and research that shows that when you do allow yourself to celebrate those wins, the successes that you achieve after are paramount. They're even bigger.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, because it's motivation, right? Like one of the biggest things that my clients ask me when they start working with me is, how do I maintain motivation? The first thing I tell people is motivation is absolute bullshit. When you get motivation? When you're laying in bed at 3:00 at night and you're like, tomorrow I'm going to get up, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to have the healthiest breakfast, I'm going to start work by 6 a.m. Like, you're going through all these things and you're so motivated and you feel that dopamine rush. Right?
Yes.
Like, so excited. And then your alarm goes off at 5 and you're like, I am freaking exhausted. I hardly even slept. Like, oh my God. And then it's like, well, I can put it off. Motivation is absolute bullshit. Where motivation is truly derived from is celebrating those small successes in between and continuing to push forward. We create our own motivation.
Okay. So is it fair to say on that note then, Colleen, that because I like the way you went down the road of motivation is bullshit. Is it fair to say that setting the goal, okay, putting it on the board, setting it, and what I learned from you was not only just setting the goal, lay everything out, set the goal. This is what it's going to be. and then all the steps you're going to take, even the micro steps, what you're going to do every day. So that, in a sense, are we not creating motivation? Like motivation doesn't come out of the sky, right? So the goal is set, and the step that you're taking to achieve the goal, that's what's motivating you.
Yeah, I'd like to replace the word motivation with empowerment. Empowerment, because when you lay out, so you've got a copy of my 6 pillars of goal setting, the ultimate goal setting.
Thank you. Amazing.
And so that whole package was designed specifically to help people when they're hitting that lull where they're like, where's the motivation? How do I get through this? Because one of the reasons why people actively seek coaching is to have that motivator. Like on a weekly basis, somebody's going to be like, rah, 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 you can do it, get it done kind of thing. And then follow up with accountability, because accountability is what really sets the difference for a lot of people in success.
Yes.
But the whole idea is that when I was doing all the research for the book, is that giving somebody the ability to feel empowered by themselves is how they continue to build the motivation. Okay. So let's say that you've got a goal, you've got a 1-year goal. Now you've gone through the journal, you've broken it into monthly goals. And for each of those monthly goals, you've got your objective, then you've got your 5 actionable steps. And those actionable steps then turn into different tasks. Every single day, if you have at least an hour blocked where you are addressing one of those specific tasks, that is part of those steps, that's part of that overarching objective, that's part of the overarching goal.
Yes.
As you continue to work towards it and you're seeing at the end of month 1, oh, wow, look at everything I've achieved. I'm that much closer to the goal. After month 2, oh, wow, look how much I've actually achieved 2 months in and I've done this. It's empowering.
Yeah, good point. I like it.
Plan, right? It's the plan that you create. It empowers you every single day that you're working on it, so that when motivation is waning and you're laying there and you're like, I'm so exhausted from today, I don't want to do anything. I don't care about my goal in a year. I've got a year to achieve it.
Yes.
Your plan says, I'm empowering you to take a step today. And it doesn't have to be a big step. It could be like, you need to, like, let's say that you have a goal of, so let's say people who want to become coaches. Let's say you have a goal of becoming a coach. Well, to do different courses to become coaches, some of them are, a week long, some of them are months long. You can't say in a year from now, I want to be an active coach, and then only start, doing your coursework 2 weeks before you want to be an active coach.
Yes.
You have to have a program that you're going through every day. So let's say that you're having a day where you're feeling unmotivated because you're exhausted. Let's say that maybe you're coming off of a vacation and you're tired.
Yes.
Having a program in place that says, today you must spend a half hour reading about the brain theory this way. Having that program in place, it's not like, oh, today I'm motivated and I'm going to read this and it's going to be amazing. It's no, I have to do this. This is part of my program. I've designated this half hour to do it. I'm going to do it. You're more likely to do it then. So now you do it. If you do that part of your program every day for that full year, you're going to hit that goal and you're going to be empowered. Whereas if you're like, oh my God, this weekend I have to read 4 hours worth of coursework because I didn't do it, I didn't program it into my days previous. Do you want to read 4 hours of coursework on a weekend? Very few people do.
Yes.
So it's about empowerment. That's why I say motivation is bullshit. It's all about empowerment.
Yeah.
And figuring out your program to empower yourself.
So there you go. There's perspective right there for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Anybody can be highly successful. It's all about the A plus B equals C. What's your formula?
The biggest thing I found, and now talking about this a little bit more, Colleen, is you could set the biggest, best, baddest plan on the planet. What you want to do, you could set it all out. You could do all the planning, everything.
Yeah.
If you're not accountable to either the person that you're working with, if you're not accountable to yourself, or you're not accountable to the plan, whatever that represents about accountability. If you're not accountable, it's never going to happen.
That's
you have to be accountable, right? And then being accountable to your point, like when you laid out in the book, right? Like you're creating something that somebody now has reference to your point, where you would insist, to me, I would be lackadaisy. In the past, I'd write a list down, I looked at goals quickly on a broader scale, and I took some steps. And now you write a list down, and you what you're going to achieve throughout the day. Boom, 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 boom. Instant dopamine hit. Next one, next one, next one. There's a sense of achievement, accomplishment. You're rolling. Everything's good. But to your point, you got to be able to do the hard work. To your point, about 4 hours. Who the hell wants to read 4 hours at a time? I mean, I think you taught me this. Your brain shuts down whatever you're doing, whatever it is you're doing. It shuts down sooner or later. I can't remember if it was 75 minutes, 90 minutes, or every 30 minutes or 20 minutes. You got to stop for a second. So even if you don't smoke, it's like a smoke break. You just stop for a minute.
Reset.
So you taught me that. So to your point about this whole thing, being accountable, you got the plan. You've made yourself accountable now, half hour a day or an hour a day, because taking these steps is going to get me to where I got to go. And that goes back to the accountability thing, right?
100%. People would be shocked how successful having a calendar, like a schedule, and having your calendar reminders going off, how successful that can be to keep you on task. Like, listen, there's lots of clients. I've had clients that have posed higher levels of a need for accountability. Like, they actually need, I've had clients where I need to actually call them and be like, are you doing this today?
Yes. Wow.
But again, everything is a learned behavior as well. Remember when we were talking before about programs?
Yes.
That program of having a lack of accountability is literally just a program that you can rewrite. And it's about how do you recognize the program, rewrite the program, and then ingrain the program to benefit you.
Yes.
And that's why I love NLP.
Yes.
Now,
NLP. Don't get me started on NLP. It's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest thing.
I know. It's been very, very beneficial for a lot of people.
Yes.
Now, what I want to know is, how do you strike your balance between your ambition and your well-being? I know that you've got a lot planned for the next year coming and even past there. And I know you've got a lot of opportunity on the horizon as well. So I want to know, how do you do that, strike that balance, and then also ensure that it still aligns with your values and your mental health as well? Because you've learned so much about the way that your brain now responds to outside, not triggers, but outside influence, and how you process that. Now, knowing everything that you know, now having all of the tools that you have, what's your plan?
So
balance.
So now the going back to, referencing a couple of things we talked earlier about some values or something, or some lessons I learned along the way. Like you can never go wrong doing the right thing, right? That moral compass ish, or getting back to winning. Every day, 6 days a week, I start the day by winning. Okay, and this speaks to my mental health, because I've done this for now 30 years, right? Where I'll work out first thing in the morning. That's I'm still on that routine. When I was married and we all lived together, office in the house, I would do the ritual 5 a.m. and have a quick coffee, do a little bit of work just to kind of get ready, and then go work out in my home gym for half an hour. That was it. By 5:40, maybe 6 o'clock, done, out the house, leave. Today things are a little bit different. Business is a little bit different. I'm pivoting in a couple of different directions. What hasn't changed is I still get up between 5 and 5:30. Sometimes, maybe if I'm comfortable, I sleep until 6, right? But I still hit the gym, and I'll hit the gym 6 days a week, because it's interesting. Actually, because today I started my day a little bit later. Even though the gym felt good, even though the mental health was great, it wasn't as good as going earlier in the morning. There's something about, Mark Wahlberg works out at 4 a.m. You hear about this 4 a.m. club, right? We started a 5 a.m. club at the gym that we go to, myself and a couple of buddies, and not on purpose. It just kind of evolved from there. So the mental health, workout, get that done right at the beginning of the day, okay? The dopamine goes, I feel like I'm winning. I feel like I got an edge on life. Okay? And, I had this one boss. I was a kid. I was 19, going to college, and I was learning how to do drywall taping. And Croatian guy, great guy, right? It's just great lessons. And he says to me, "You always got to be on time or early," right? And I said, "Okay, no problem. Like, I always got to be on time and early." He says, "Because if you sleep in, you're lazy. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You're lazy." So that stuck with me about sleeping in and not doing shit that you're supposed to. You're being lazy. Well, can't be lazy and successful, right? So this mental health thing that we're talking about, I start my day with mental health, working out, winning. That's great. Now, knowing what I know, I don't, I'm more well-rounded. So my days are more filled with, yes, I still have to put a roof over my head. Yes, I still have to feed my family. Yes, I have a restructuring plan so that I can, kind of get to a more comfortable place where, but along the day now, daily, I'm more balanced because I'm having more enriched conversation. I'm having more, taking time to listen to people and help people as opposed to, okay, I'm just going to go to work. I'm just going to make some money. I just want to do this many square feet. I want to do this. So a little bit less of the chase, even though the chase and the hunger is still inside me, Pauline, but more well-rounded in the aspect of basically setting the tone for what do I want to get in a day? How do I want to fulfill? What are my things I absolutely have to do to survive? And what do I want to do to help other people? And what do I need to do for myself? So that's just a little bit more balanced now at my age, which then every day is, I want to say every day is a work day. It's really not work. Like, I would think that, I got some advice a long time ago, just do something that you really love. You're never going to work another day in your life. Right. So that being said, I just find that I'm just more well-rounded with everything.
That's awesome. I do love that you're looking for the well-roundedness in life. One of the things I've heard that saying before, and I've always kind of struggled with it too, because listen, everybody should do a job that they love and then it's not work. But the problem is like our world literally functions off of people doing jobs that are not great.
Good point. No, good point. Good point.
Right?
Yeah.
But having a well-rounded life,
yes,
I think that's what makes even doing a job that might be mundane or doing a job that's not your favorite job still something that you can feel good about.
Great. Yeah.
You don't have to be totally excited about it, but you can still feel relatively good about it because maybe it's okay. Well, this pays the bills. That gives me the ability to do this with my family kind of thing. It's all about the perspective, the reframing.
Yes,
and that's what I love, reframing every situation to how can we look at this in an empowering way? Because that's one of the things. That's one of the biggest things. And going back again, remember how I was talking about my bad luck?
Yes.
I reframe a lot of things to look at it in what is an empowering way to see the situation. Like, even if it's like, well, I'll never make that mistake again, then at least I've learned something. I'm like, okay, I'm empowered again. Like, listen, there's times when I do make that same mistake again.
Yeah.
But then at that same point, I'm like, okay, what didn't we learn the first time? What didn't we learn the second time? Okay, now the third time, we know what to look out for. We've got red signals we're looking for now.
Yes. Yeah.
Now I want to ask you, because we've talked about your family life, your business life, and everything. I want to know, what kind of legacy are you hoping you're going to leave? Whether it be, a legacy in a couple of months from now, years from now, or all the way when you're 110 and you're retiring from life. What legacy do you want to leave?
It's interesting you ask that question. I love the questions you ask because it gets me to, or anybody, I guess, that you deal with, just to think a little bit beyond the now, right? Mm-hmm. And if I think about my legacy or what I want it to be now, it's completely different than what it was before, which then makes me believe I needed to go through all of this stuff. Okay, all of this shit, the divorce, the death of the parents, the becoming, my business is not even operating well anymore, and the economic climate changing and getting my ass handed to me. Because before, my legacy would have been building things that, first of all, creating things that architecture that people could love, enjoy, have beautiful family gatherings in, like build. Yeah. Then it's to create. Then it was build some stuff that, has your name on it, so then your children, right, and your family could go by and say, okay, that's ours, and we can eat from generations of it. Okay, so doing that, I've accomplished that. That's already been accomplished. And I don't want to feel like been there, done that. And listen, this isn't, I don't have my name on a hospital. It's not that, right? I don't have a building in downtown that has, Continelli all the way across. No, but we've created things that people call home. right? We built things. I can go buy jobs. Still, the first job that I ever did with my hands, still drive by, take my kids and go, I did that, and it's still there, right?
Yeah.
So that was great. But now, I don't believe. I believe that legacy can change, right? Through life, right? So now, what I want, and I believe my legacy is going to be, is to help people and to help them realize, and to use your point, to empower them, right? That we all have something in us to live a more fulfilling life. Okay, listen, to your point, there's people that do jobs that they don't really like, okay?
Right.
And they have a choice. They know that they have to feed their family or they have to pay the bills, but they can become more well-balanced this way. I'm hoping my legacy can be touching some people that they can actually realize inside of them, that this perspective of where you are in life, it's never that bad. It could always be better. Be grateful and be thankful. So the legacy would be to help people or leave something behind that people know that there's some tools out there that could give them their own little piece of power and success.
Yeah. I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to listen. I don't know how I'm going to get there yet. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get this whole idea, message, love all these people, right? Or share my energy with, I don't know how I'm going to get there yet. I knew how I was going to get there, I believe, when I started creating things with my own hands and stepping back and being able to go, okay, I could do this. So maybe in 10 years, check back with me and say, okay, what's the legacy now for the next 40 years, right?
I will.
And I know you will. I know you will. So now, or maybe even 5, but now that's the legacy. I want there to be something that I've touched, that I've created, that has empowered people on an individual level. Right.
I have no doubt that you're going to get there. And I already know. I know that you're saying you don't know how you're going to get there, but I already can imagine some of the things, like from the things we've talked about, and the goals that you have. I can already imagine how you're going to achieve some of that. And then really, it's about creating the program. Yes. You have the overarching goal now. Now let's break it down. So
yes.
We're going to get there.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you, what is a final message or any insight that you want to leave with our audience today? Because I think it's been a really fun time chatting today. I imagine that we have definitely entertained at least a few people. So what message would you like to leave, or insight would you like to leave them with?
You know what, Colleen? Nobody knows this yet. And we're going to look back at this in years from now. This is my first podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. And for whatever reason, we found each other, and here we are today. And this is the first time I can speak to somebody, hopefully, on a broader scale. The message is that, first and foremost, believe in yourself. So believe in yourself. There's zero substitution for setting goals, whatever the goal is. There's zero substitution for setting a goal and taking the necessary steps, like breaking the goal down, taking the necessary steps so that you can achieve the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. And I tried it. Believe me, I tried it. I tried not setting goals in the past little while. Yeah, I can still get there. Not even close. Okay. So believe in yourself. Make sure that you set the goals, right? And at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I think I want to tell anybody who's listening, you need to be brutally honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like in order to grow. Okay. You touched on this earlier, and when you said to me, people don't change. We don't change, but we can grow. Okay. Yeah. That resonated with me more than you believe, because it's so true, because you always say, oh, they're going to change, you're going to change, or you're going to change, or I'm going to change. No, I'm the same person with the same core values that I always was. Okay. Yeah. I could have lost my way along the way. I didn't want to be in touch with my feelings, or I was arrogant enough or egotistical enough, because one of the things with success, when you become successful in whatever that success is, whether you're really successful at your marriage because you're connecting, if you take some of the time off and you're not doing all the little things you did with your wife or your mate,
yeah,
there's going to be some holes in business. But what happens is you get a little bit of success. For me, anyway, I got a little arrogant. Not arrogant in the way of, look at me, like, well, I could do this. can do that. I can do this. I can do that. But I wasn't honest with myself. So now at the end of the day, biggest thing is a person, if they want to change, okay, which is hard, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Nobody else, yourself. And when you can be brutally honest with yourself, like, I mean, to the core, look in the mirror, do whatever you got to do. I don't know if you got to rah, but you got to verbalize it and get it out of your head, because when you say it out loud, it's 10 times more powerful than if you just keep it in your head. Yeah. So the message is just to be brutally honest with yourself.
Yeah, I think that's really important too, because oftentimes I see people, they'll set a goal and it will be this super, like, it's a big goal and they can achieve it. I believe that for the most part, anybody can achieve anything. Yes, there are some certain boundaries. Like, for example, I am Canadian. I'm never going to be the president of the United States. That's not going to ever happen. Yes. But there are, for the most part, many things that people can achieve. And one of the biggest hurdles as to why they don't achieve it is because they failed to plan. Fail to plan, you're going to fail. So when they do plan, they'll plan this huge goal and then they won't create the correct steps in between, or they won't be honest with themselves about the actual work that's involved and if they are willing to do the things that are involved in achieving it. And this is why, like, the journey to success is such a personal one, and success means so many different things to everybody.
Sure.
But oftentimes people will think in the very rudimentary idea of success. Success is being wealthy. Success is, having lots of friends, nice things. Like, a lot of people think in that way, which is not a bad way. Like, listen, that stuff makes the world go round.
Yeah, or Michael Kors Runway.
There we go. That was success too, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Success is an important function of success. But where a lot of people fall so short is when they are not being honest with themselves and if they are willing to do what it takes to achieve their definition of success.
Yep, I agree.
I love that was your point. That's amazing.
Hey,
wait
a second. We started this whole thing. Now, if we come back, we started this whole thing when you asked what were the viewers or the listeners going to get.
Yeah.
Brutal honesty. That's it, right? Yeah. But even the most honest people still, it takes work, Colleen, to look inside, to be honest with ourselves and don't fool ourselves if we want to change.
Absolutely.
Because we all have the power to do it, for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, I am so grateful that you joined me today, Danny. It was an amazing experience getting to chat with you. I love how you shared all of that with the audience.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. I'm definitely looking forward to having you back as well and seeing how your success is tracking.
I love it. Thank you. You know what? I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You're an incredible human being. Thank you. I'm so humbled every single time. I mean, we have a lot of fun. Obviously, there's chemistry. It's great. But I'm truly, truly humbled every time we talk, because it gives me a constant reset, which is amazing. And I know that you are going to do an amazing getting your message out with Transcending Minds and everything that you want to achieve. I know that you're going to do it. You're destined to do it because you do all the hard work. You are honest with yourself. And you have everything coming up in place, right, with the goals and all the steps you're going to take. So, you know what? You're an incredible human being. I can't thank you enough. This is my first. This is my first podcast.
You did amazing.
Thank you, of tens of thousands. And one day I'm going to get you on my show.
I would love to do that.
We still don't know what it's going to be called, and probably 100 or 50 or 200 shows in, we still don't know what it might be called. But at least, we're going to look towards it, right?
We're going to plan it out. Don't worry. We're going to we'll see.
Yes. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Danny. All right. We will see you again soon. Thank you again.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.
Pleasure. Okay. Here we go.